Test. All right. So my man Dan.
We're out here.
He fooling. He crazy.
The greatest city in America.
It's America.
Hey
everyone, I'm Alex Reneman, this is Dan Paul, and we're here with Field Notes here at DynamicsCon in Columbus, Ohio. And Dan, this is a regional DynamicsCon for Microsoft Dynamics. What does that mean, and what are we going to get into here today?
Yeah, so DynamicsCon is they have several regional events around America. This is the Ohio Valley regional event. It all kind of builds up into a national event in Vegas in May. But they kind of put these on to just try to get people who are using Dynamics 365 in their operations to learn more.
Yeah, I mean, several of our customers, some of you guys are using Dynamics or considering Dynamics, and so we have experience with it, but we've never been to one of these, and we thought, well, hey, let's go and check it out and see if we can offer some value for you guys. So what are some of the things they're going to talk about this week at this conference that may be valuable to the folks watching at home?
Yeah, so for this event, 2.5 days, it's really heavy on the Power Platform and AI. But they do have some in supply chain management, getting the most out of like the finance and operations module, which is where we spend some of our time in the workflow solutions, but really just trying to learn more about some of the differences between Business Central and supply chain management.
And we have no clue what we're going to get into. So we're going to go inside and let's check it out. We'll bring the camera over we can and show you some things. But I'm really hoping we get some real world conversations with some folks around their experiences that would be valuable to you guys as you're either running Dynamics in your operation or you're considering it. Yep. So let's go inside and check it out. Hey guys, so here we are. We just had a great session with the Avanade guys. We're here with Nick Luthold and Andres Monroy. You guys were talking about the supply chain in Dynamics and what was going on there, and we thought there's some really interesting stuff that we want to take to folks who weren't able to come here. Let's talk about that standalone, right?
Yeah, the thing I didn't know about was the WMS module now being something that you can have standalone instead of having to do the entire finance and operations module there. So yeah, if you guys could help us just kind of understand how this happened, when it happened, and what's it all about.
Yeah, so that's an exciting new feature that Microsoft released, where ultimately, if you think about the WMS features and the capabilities that already live inside of Dynamics, it's where you can actually run that as its own standalone WMS. So as you mentioned, right, you don't have to go through the full ERP implementation where you have to think about your APAR. All that can be set to the side. You can really just run the core WMS feature. So really, if you think about it, it becomes its own best-of-breed WMS, and that's how it operates, right? So where now it's truly competing against with those best-of-breeds that you see out there in the market. Some of the opportunities that we've seen for some of our clients to take advantage of it is, for example, maybe whenever they're turning on a new building, right? Maybe they're already running some of those tier 1 best-of-breed WMSs, but whenever they think about now lighting up a new building and the headache that comes along with deploying one of those tier 1s and the timeline it takes to get to value there, that's where the WMS standalone option inside of Dynamics becomes really powerful, right? Because it's cloud enabled, and then there's speed to value to where you can easily turn that thing on, get rocking and rolling pretty quickly.
Yeah, Microsoft came up probably like a year ago with this new functionality, and like Nick was mentioning, right, you don't need the whole deployment of the ERP. You can start with the warehouse only mode first. So Microsoft came up with a new, what we call source orders. And so you've got a inbound shipment, outbound shipment, so you don't need sales orders, you don't need purchase orders, right? So everything will come from different systems, and that will come in the shape of inbound shipment, outbound shipment, and then you can take advantage of the whole functionality of cycle counting, replenishments, movements, right? All your picking strategies, put away strategies. So it is a very, very powerful tool that we are trying to, to explore with other clients.
It's on everyone's mind. Anytime we're talking systems today or any kind of software is AI. And what do we do with that? What do we do with the data? And you guys were talking about some really interesting use cases there. And I think, our watchers, our viewers are the same, right? They're right there in there. And so let's explore a little more of that when you guys are looking at what's exciting or it doesn't necessarily be brand new, but certainly things you're seeing, trends you're seeing within customer base. What are they seeing out of Dynamics in that way?
I mean, so the benefit of us as Avanade, right, is our expertise overall in the Microsoft ecosystem and Microsoft space. And ultimately, whenever it comes to AI, is Microsoft is heavily investing in its AI capabilities across its ecosystem. So not only is it available within your Microsoft products, your Teams, your Outlooks, your Excels, but they're also baking it in as a core capability of the business applications. So we talked about the standalone WMS, but we can even think about it from the standpoint of the overall ERP solution or CRM, right? It's where now those AI capabilities are now a native piece of the overall fabric of the overall platform. So thinking of warehousing operations, right? So Copilot's been enabled to where now we can utilize that to just summarize today's data. So if I'm a warehouse manager, hey, I can see a summary of what my work is going to look like today, and then maybe how I can divvy that up optimally across my different employees within the warehouse. So lots of summary capabilities, lots of highlights in terms of helping folks make smarter decisions with AI.
And I think that's the biggest thing, right? A stale report later is okay, it's good, but helping me make better decisions going forward, that's where the magic comes with a lot of this. Well, guys, I mean, I enjoyed the session. I know Dan did, and we could keep on going with questions. We'll let you guys get back to the conference, but Avanade, it'd be hard pressed to find anybody who understands the whole system better, given that Blue Horseshoe origin and all that stuff. So we really appreciate you guys coming in and talking to us and letting folks at home kind of see what's happening and what's new out here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys. So we want to take a moment and say, why are we here? Why are we even doing this? So I think it's probably best to start with, well, why at Field Notes? What are we doing here? And I think that's one of those things where in this market, there are tons of manufacturer videos and promos and nice polished things, but there's not a lot of real conversation with real users around what the benefits of certain things are, what the challenges are, the risks, the fears, the good stuff, all of that. And so we're just trying to get out there. Not all of us can be in these situations, and Field Notes is a chance for us. We've got some experience in the market. We've seen some stuff, right? Yeah. It gives us a chance to say, here's what we see, but it's not an authoritative, definitive guide. It's just another perspective that's not just a polished promo video. It's just real world stuff.
Yeah, and we're not trying to schlep something or sell, our particular solution in any of these things, which is what you don't see out there.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we'd love for you to buy stuff from us and work with us and be our partner, and we love good customers and partners and all that, and we're always doing that. But that's not what this is about. This is more about, we saw in this market, there's a dearth of quality, kind of honest views of what's happening in the market. There are some super bright people, brilliant people, and there's some really neat solutions and neat offerings and great things happening. And this industry is cool in a lot of ways, because one of the things I've always loved about it is people are willing to share and they are willing to engage and help one another. And that stuff gets lost sometimes in super polished marketing promos. And when you have real conversations with real people, man, you find all kinds of magic. So that's what we're trying to do with Field Notes, and hopefully it's valuable to you. If you have ideas or things you'd like us to engage, we're all ears, and we're happy to come check it out. Again, this is an interesting market with a lot of cool things going on, a lot of great people, and we'd love to get out there and try to create some more value to you in a way that allows you to find your optimized path and how you improve your operation and your role in it. So I think that's, so we're going to get back to it, but I just want to take a moment to talk about why Field Notes and why are we here at this DynamicsCon today. Okay, now we're here with Bobby Small. He's Director of Community Strategy for the Dynamics User Group. Bobby, thanks for coming in. You set all this up, and so we thought we'd bring you in here to talk about the value of this thing and what happens at these events.
You bet, that's kind of you, because I kind of set it up. I mean, you got folks over here, over there.
You do have a good team. They've been great to work with.
Yeah, awesome team that helped set this up. I've been lucky to be a part of it as an employee for the last 8 months or so, but I've been in the community, and this has been going on since 2003 or 4 as a overall peer community, sharing community. As an end user since 2009, so I've been doing this in the community for a long time. The cool thing about this is this is a regional event for Ohio, but this is made up of a lot of local groups. So there's a Kentucky group, there's an Ohio group, there's an Indiana group, there's a Michigan group, there's a Milwaukee group. I help run a Denver group. There are 60 plus groups around the world. We just had this event, but in Africa, in Uganda and Kenya, the real magic is locally. In your own community, your smaller community. This is regional, but even smaller is where the magic happens.
Well, let's talk about that. What's the real value of being a member or joining and going to these events, either locally or when they're at these more regional events?
There's lots of levels. So as an end user, coming here to an event like this, to a local event, you're meeting peers that are doing what you're doing, whatever stage you're at. If you're, I was at a meeting last year where it was primarily a Business Central, that's an ERP system with Microsoft. There was a group of folks who hadn't picked an ERP yet. There was a group of folks who were in the process of implementing the ERP, a group of folks who had just implemented, and a group of folks who have been doing it for 5 years.
So, and we've got all those kind of people listening right now.
Yeah. So what happened in that room was the people who were in that choice making process are like, great, I'm learning from these people that are in it. So I'm hearing the horror stories of what's happening, and the people that just finished and how they're transitioning over, and the people that have been doing it for 5 years going, yeah, you guys are fine, you're there, you keep on coming, just get through the pain. And so being able to hear that from, from a partner is one thing, but being able to hear from somebody, the accountant, the IT person, the people doing it, that hits differently, right?
Yeah.
That's something that really resonates with people at a different level.
So I know one of the things when you're choosing a new ERP or WMS, it's features and functionality, but also the strength of the user groups and the teams and things like that. So I know from a business perspective, that sounds like there's a lot. But from you mentioned the IT and the technical, so people who are trying to go in and pull the levers, like this speaks to all the different.
Yeah, it's like I was an IT, I was a break fix person to start for a few years, but I was also a programmer, and when I got my chance, I was programming the system. And so for me, there's functional content. So hey, I'm the accountant, I'm the operator, I'm the the manufacturer, and I've got that. But also typically these user groups are made up, and this content is broken up to hit your audience. So if you have people that are IT showing up, then you're going to find technical content, or you're going to meet technical people. Maybe all the content isn't always there, but the access that you get it's just incredible in the contacts you make and keep through that process. So you get to know these people intimately for that long. Again, the local level makes that happen.
That's just what I was going to say. We were in a session where there were some questions, and it was all over the map, functional to technical. And then at the end, you saw people just immediately connect. People who knew each other said, you need to talk to this guy, you need to talk to this lady. All of a sudden they were connecting. Here's a problem getting solved right there on the spot, or maybe, potentially. And that's just the power of this kind of networking event.
One of my favorite stories I've been telling recently, I was in Toronto last year, and a person came up to me, had just met me, just first event. He's like, I really need help with this thing. And I said, cool, give me about 5 minutes, I'll get back to you. And I dialed up a friend. It's like, do you know? He's like, Andrew Good does that. He should be actually right next to you. And I turned and seriously, he was right next to me because he was at the event. So I said, Andrew, can you help this guy over here? I was walking over, like within 5 minutes. This user who just showed up to his first meeting was like astounded by the power of being able to solve a problem in the moment like that. It was like, holy crap, this is happening real time for me, and he'll carry that forward forever.
Yeah, they'll add those contacts. And so we're excited. We're almost done with day one. We're excited about day two. But I want to kind of be the people who aren't here on this event. They might be events in their area. Again, how do they go? You mentioned the website earlier. Let's make sure we get that to them.
Yeah, how do you join, become a member?
So DynamicsUserGroup.com will allow you to get to our page. We use Meetup. It's a platform that allows you to, it's for everything, right? It's just a Meetup platform to allow people to get together.
Awesome. Well, Bobby, thank you. This has been a great event so far. We're excited about what's next, and thanks for coming and talking to the folks at home.
Of course, Thanks a lot, man.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Good to meet you.
All right.
Are you guys doing pictures?
No, he's actually recording. He's moving pictures.
They're new. All right, here we are with Jody Cronk with Airstream, and Jody's a longtime Dynamics user. Jody, thanks for coming and talking to us about your experience.
Yeah.
All right, so we've been at this user group. It's been a great time so far. It's the first event we've been to.
Glad to hear it.
A lot of great people, a lot of great things happening. But one of the things for the folks at home, we want to talk about that experience. We got lots of folks who are maybe early users or anticipating switching and all those things. And so I'd love to hear a little bit about your experience with Dynamics and really kind of leaning more to the supply chain side too, but really overall.
My first go live was in 2014 with AX 2009. It was a manufacturing company, fire truck manufacturing company, going from a legacy system of we just make what we make. And at the end of the day, once the truck ships, we try to account for the material and the labor. At that point, it was still all manual supply chain movements, right? So you try to keep it as streamlined. Well, you always try to keep it as streamlined as possible, but no WMS. I spent 16 years there total, so I was pretty familiar with the data through the whole transition. It was scary. A lot of people that never had to actually touch a computer were having to touch the computer, and then we were having to account for their actions. Then I went to another company that had multiple manufacturing facilities, and we did 3 go lives in 2020 during the pandemic.
Wow.
Got them into, everyone was using WMS, everything, production orders, sales orders, and again, these were all companies using legacy systems.
You've been through a lot of implementations, and so I know some of the folks at home that are anticipating this move or whatnot. What are some of the things you can tell me? This will go wrong, and this is how you're, or what to look out for, those kind of things.
Right. So you'll find out that your bombs are not as accurate as you think they are. And that's normal, and it's okay. In D365, you have to have the material on hand before you can finish that production order. I would say have like a production control team available to help your shop floor users through that transition, because they're going to expect to just, I finished the work, why can't I finish the production order? Employ change management, a professional change management, to help get your users ready.
Okay, like the psychological, and it's just like thinking through.
Right, because a lot of your users, they know what they do. If you can get them ready to just do it in a different way, it goes a lot smoother.
Makes total sense. So, there's a reason people switch, right? So what are some of those reasons, those benefits? You're like, I'm glad we're able to get on Dynamics to do X, Y, or Z.
For me, I like everything is so accessible. Like you can pull the data out, you can dump it to Excel, and you can present it to the stakeholders in the same way they've always seen it.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that's probably the biggest selling point. And then the integration with AI. They've integrated so much AI into it to help people be more efficient. A lot of times D365 is click heavy, right? You gotta click, you gotta click, you gotta click, you gotta click. So if you get AI involved to help with those clicks, I think it's a little easier for people to accept. Plus, then that helps further acceptance of AI, right?
From a supply chain perspective, from WMS perspective, from an integration with other edge technologies or systems, have you noticed it to be easier or more difficult? Have you noticed challenges around there?
I think it's pretty easy. I think that Microsoft has positioned themselves to be easy to integrate, right? They know what they do, and they know what the ISVs and other edge technologies can do. And if one of those gets really good, they may entertain buying it.
Yeah, right.
Right now I'm using a system, we were doing financials for the city of Columbus. 600 users, millions and millions of dollars, all strictly financial transactions and procurement, but no inventory. A week later, I'm doing manufacturing for one of the most iconic brands in the country, Airstream trailers, and it's the same piece of software.
Yeah, that's the benefit of an ERP, a full system.
What I really like about D365 F&O especially is how configurable it is without code.
Okay. Yeah.
So
you don't have to hire a bunch of coders.
Right. You don't have to have a developer.
Yeah.
I don't know code. I'm very, very functional, and I can customize screens. I can give users workspaces. There's a lot of things I can do because with just a checkbox here and a filter there.
I guess to wrap back around to this event, the user groups, like what do you get out of attending these things and being part of the DynamicsCon?
Well, I'm a functional user, not a developer. I have spoken with no less than 4 people from Microsoft today that are interested in hearing my opinion. They want to know what I'm doing with it. They want to come visit where I'm working. They want to make it better.
That's great. So you get to meet the people who are building the software, not just other users as well.
And the benefit from other users that have already made the mistakes, that have already had those growing pains, it is invaluable.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll sit in on, even when I was with Columbus, I didn't have any inventory or production orders to work with, but a lot of times I would still sit in on a master planning session or a WMS session to, one, keep in touch with what's going on, but a lot of times those problems are cross-industry.
Right.
Yep.
And you meet people, you strike up a conversation, you go, oh, well, we had that problem, we did this with it, and it just that's what I get out of the user group. So much so that I started volunteering. I'm one of the people who helps plan it here in Ohio, and this is our third year of doing a regional event like this.
Okay, cool. Well, it's been a great event, and
I'm glad to hear that.
We've heard that consistently, that whole networking piece, and people just bringing ideas. It's festival ideas, lots of help. And we appreciate you coming on to talk to folks at home. You heard it from a user now, a serial user of Dynamics in different settings, and appreciate you coming in, Jody, and talking to us.
I'll say that a lot of times, if you work on the ERP, right, you become kind of pigeonholed at your company, and other people don't understand your problems, right? Because to me, data is data. It doesn't. Your process doesn't. I won't say it doesn't matter to me, but the data is data. And you come someplace like this with people who have that same, right? And they can translate those problems differently and give you insight and help solve.
That's great. Awesome. Well, Jody, thank you. Hopefully this is valuable to you guys at home, and we'll continue on this event. Go ahead. Sorry. I had a whole nother one. Nope, cut that bit. And action.
Yeah. Ready?
Yep.
All right, we're out here at the Scioto River here in Dublin, Ohio, and just wanted to recap the event.
Yeah, I mean, so I think there are a few things that really stuck with us after the event. One of those, right off the bat, just getting right into it, was the standalone WMS that now is available, and really maybe the last 6 months or year or so has been available. We were kind of pumped about that. We know a lot of our customers and partners are going to be interested in that.
Historically, you have to go with the finance and operations module in Dynamics 365 to get the supply chain management and get the WMS, and you kind of had to go whole hog to get that feature and functionality. But now they're taking that WMS and splitting it out, so now you can use that standalone, but then you could also use Business Central or another ERP to feed the WMS. So that's pretty big news, and honestly, I'm surprised that we haven't heard more about it.
I thought the same thing. I mean, if you typically you got to start with financials and go on, but if you're happy with the financials and you're happy with your system, but you need that extra power on the supply chain, maybe your customers are pushing some complexity on you, or the market's changing, or new requirements coming down in terms of government regulations and whatnot. Boy, that's kind of cool, right? Now you don't have to look at the whole ERP implementation. You come in with an upgrade there, which is kind of cool.
And it sounds like it still comes with all the other bells and whistles from the D365 framework. It's just that they've kind of turned off those other features, but you're still getting WMS, and so you get the reporting. It's a little early, but really interested to learn more about how that works.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying your D365 or your Dynamics rep's not going to push you to get everything, because you're still going to. Speaking of pushing, AI. Everywhere we go, AI. We hear it all the time, and there was a lot of that today, and really that's expected. And honestly, you look at Microsoft. They are, one of the few that are kind of ahead of the game there. They've kind of got some of their own stuff. So I think that was an important piece of today for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they've had historical connections. They've been really AI forward the whole time. And yeah, I mean, the first session was, this is your future. They weren't saying maybe this is for you. It was basically like, this is where you're going to go. So it's just how quick you want to get there. So it felt a little pushy, but I think they're not wrong. But so I think it's going to take a while for some, but they're really building it in. They're allowing it to start small. So you want it to automate. You get an email from somebody and it parses out the information and takes the address and puts it in the system, and it's just saving steps. So they're still in the mode of, we can help you. You don't have to turn in to fully automated agents right away. So it's the right progression through AI.
Yeah, quite a plan, and it's going to be different for everybody. There was a phrase, and I'm going to butcher this, but it said something like, it's moving from instead of a future consideration to an operational necessity or something like that. And I think most of us that are following along, we get that. That's kind of where we all are. I think when you talk about this conference, it's hard to miss the vibe that was going on there and the connection that a lot of these folks have at that local level. As Bobby told us, it really all starts at local, and we saw that. The vibe there was great, and I think there was some really knowledgeable people that were open and happy to have discussions, and us coming in kind of as interlopers, we were outsiders to a certain degree. We're really welcomed in, and we had some really great discussions and learned a ton.
Yeah, I mean, these events, I mean, they're popping up. It sounds like they're rapidly growing, more areas around the world. These little user groups, and even hyper-focused user groups. I thought that was interesting. So, they can have one just for procurement, one for IT, and then one for like the partners, and they're really trying to get a lot of engagement. But, that's whenever you're signing up for a new system, the health of a user group is something that you should take into consideration, because you have questions, you want to learn from other people, and that was a theme that I heard a lot.
I agree, and I think one of the things that's, when you look at this group, oftentimes and historically, you might think these are organizations they're coming off of spreadsheets going into a WMS or into a larger system, and really there were some larger organizations here that had come from their own homegrown WMSs up to other WMSs over and other ERPs over. So there is this broad group, and I think that was one of the pieces that stuck with us too. This is an all-inclusive kind of event, whether you're an operator or you're a technical person or whatever, or you're a small organization, it's your first foray into any kind of automation or enterprise-wide systems, to folks who old hat, they're doing it again, they're looking at the next thing. I thought that was a really interesting mix, and I would imagine, I don't know what it's like at each one of these locals, and certainly at the national event, I would expect you're going to get that with this group.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume. I mean, this one here, is free registration. You show up, you get some good content, you meet some people. It's a low risk kind of move to attend. Certainly the one in Vegas will have some cost, but it sounds like now you're getting all the regional folks all coming together, and so you're getting a lot of like-minded people, and that's coming up in May.
Well, and just like any event that we just airdrop in or rappel down into the middle of and start doing things, we're gonna miss things that might have been important, and so I hope this is valuable to you. I hope what we've done and the questions we asked and the things we've brought to you is valuable. We'd love to hear from you about things you'd like to see, questions maybe we should have asked, whatever, because we're going to continue to kind of do these things when we can, and we want it to be valuable. We want it to be something that you can take back and as you're processing your next steps for your organization. Hopefully this is a valuable asset to you. So I think at this point we've had a good time. We're in a great place here. We got
beautiful
ducks
weather
swimming by. It's awesome. Till next time.
Thanks, everybody. Oh yeah.
Duck reroll.
Duck. Oh goodness.